C2 Wrestling. The boys are back. It is a massive, massive, massive show because tonight, Thursday, 8:20, the most important thing of the week, the Philadelphia Eagles are back. Football is back, but wrestling never goes away. So there's always wrestling to talk about. CTD Snowden, subscribe if not, hate you, you're a coward. We got plenty to dive into. The rumors are
Absolutely.
swirling, the not so much rumors are swirling. Things are happening. Pay-per-views are being moved, matches are being booked. All these things keep piling up and I'm like, "Oh my god, we got this to talk about. We got this to talk about. We got this to talk about." Then I look at the checklist and I go, "Wait, all of these things fall well below importance of knowing how Snowden's doing today."
How am I doing? Well, I mean, you said it. NFL comes back tonight. My game might not be on tonight, but it is on Sunday. I'm looking forward to the NFL coming back. You beat me to the punch. You're a Fly Eagles Fly guy. I'm rooting for my Steelers here. We'll see how they do this year. Interesting team they got going on. But like you said, wrestling never stops. The thing is year round. It is constant. I couldn't imagine not being into something that doesn't end like this. Like, what do you do? Like, what would you do in the wrestling off season if there's no football, baseball? I don't get it. Wrestling, a lot going on right now in the world of especially WWE. Wrestlepalooza coming up. A lot of matches being built towards that. You know, off the back of SummerSlam, the big talk, Brock Lesnar, man, we're gonna get him and Cena. Maybe they'll face that bad blood we were imagining back then. Not long ago, they announced it. ESPN, it's official. WWE PLE is going to ESPN, and hell, they jumped the gun on that one. They said sooner than we even said originally. ESPN's first show is a first time ever show in Wrestlepalooza, and we might even be getting stumped on Brock Lesnar. You know, it seems like he's going to be around, but there's a little bit of a bigger name circulating the internet at this point in time. It's not even circulating the internet. It's pretty damn obvious. AJ Lee is coming back. Now, there's a few points I know we both want to talk about regarding AJ Lee and her coming back to team with CM Punk, face off against Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins. Sure, maybe it's just an assumption it happens at Wrestlepalooza, but it seems being built for that. But I want to talk about how WWE is spoiling the return of AJ Lee, you know, and I say that with some sarcasm. You scoff a little bit yourself because, guys, come on. All I'm seeing on Twitter online is how could they? Why would they not surprise return AJ Lee? Oh, God, there's just so many reasons why not. One, I don't think you're a typical wrestling fan until you hit a certain age. Like, you don't understand how promotion works. You know, like, I get it. CM Punk was a surprise return. AJ Lee is a very big return. CM Punk's a bit of a bigger step, if we're being honest. You know, AJ Lee, or I should say Becky Lynch, rather, attacks CM Punk this past weekend at Clash in Paris. If you didn't see that happen and immediately think AJ Lee is coming back, then that must have been the first wrestling PLE you've ever watched in your life. I don't understand it. I want to get your take on it. WWE Shop, if you saw the tweet, are they spoiling the AJ Lee return?
First off, WWE Shop is like, this shit's run by like bots and AI.
Yeah.
Like, fucking who gives a fuck what they say? Half the time
Yeah.
they're right, half the time they're wrong. I don't care. I'm never going to fucking buy into that. I don't care. I'm not even convinced it's a real person on the other side nowadays
I
with how
agree.
much AI and bots and all this nonsense, whatever. So that to me, whatever. I don't give a shit. Don't care at all. Will never care. The point of people being like, WWE has spoiled it, blah, blah, blah. I immediately think of when Cody Rhodes returned. They never said Cody. They never mentioned his name. It wasn't like Batista coming back at the Rumble where they just flat out were like, hey, he's coming back at the Rumble. There was never any mention of it. It was just, oh, all signs of their booking and what they're doing and their promos and their hints point to this. And they want you to expect it and tune in to see it. And then it happens and it's this massive moment. That's what's happening with AJ Lee. Like, if we got Punk in the promo saying, You better stop or I'm going to call my wife, AJ Lee, and she's going to come back and beat you up. I'd be like, what the fuck? That's fucking shit. But that's not what happened. It's literally like, what do you expect? There was going to be a moment that caused AJ Lee to come back. There was a moment, she has her reason now. A woman laid her hands on her husband. She crossed the line. That's her reason. What did you want her to just fucking show up in an open challenge or some shit? Like, I don't get it. It is the ultimate. They'll never be happy.
They'll never be happy. Truly, never be happy. I've seen a tweet or two from just random dumb fan accounts of like, you guys got to respect AJ Lee and her never wanting to come back. She said it in the past, which is also not true. She's said in the past she wants to come back. I just can't imagine not being pleased this often. No matter what happens, the fans will never be happy. I'm seeing all this talk about, oh man, it would be great if Punk teamed with Bayley, with Rhea, this, that, whatever. What are we doing here? We're not even like fantasy booking at this point because it's so clear as day what's going to happen here. Now, listen, if AJ Lee doesn't return, I'll eat my words and it would also be a massive mistake. But I'm confident. I'm as confident as I've ever been that this is going down, this is happening. I don't think CM Punk is teaming with Bayley. I don't think he's teaming with Rhea. I don't think he's teaming with his brother-in-law Dragon Lee against Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch either. You know, it's gonna be AJ Lee. Wrestlepalooza seems the show. It is likely she could pop up even before Wrestlepalooza. You know, maybe there's an announcement made. I don't think they'll go the route of like CM Punk has a mystery tag partner because that again is just so on the nose of what it's going to be. You might as well just have AJ Lee return a week or two prior and then her match is at Wrestlepalooza.
She might show up tomorrow.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know Chicago, all this. I don't know how I feel about SmackDown. I mean, I get it. It's Chicago. SmackDown's not even the show Becky's on. It makes me fear that Becky's going to show up on SmackDown and maybe Seth is there too. And again, we're just so dedicated brand split guys that like, I don't want that. But Chicago, I mean, it makes sense. And also, too, to make more sense out of it, why would AJ Lee wait? Becky's beating the shit out of her husband on Raw. Why would she wait 3 weeks to be like, okay, now's the time? You would go immediately to stop that from happening. So I can see it happening on SmackDown. I don't think they wait till Wrestlepalooza. Regardless of how it happens, fans are never happy.
Just like you said, why would she wait? Punk's over in Paris. Okay,
Yep.
that happens. You're not getting over there by the time Raw.
Yeah.
By the time Raw starts.
Yeah.
Time you get on a flight, whatever, show's over.
You've done the trip, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's use logic. Punk says, I can't wait that long. Where's SmackDown? Chicago. Tremendous. Exactly. Let's use logic. It all lines up. If she shows up there, if not, you get like the world's biggest tease. Oh, she's coming in. You also, though, here's the thing where people are like, oh, I want this big, return, whatever. It is a little bit different in the fact of it is a woman coming back to take out a woman to defend her husband.
Mm-hmm.
It is not like you have a scenario where Punk is going to be beaten down in the ring by Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed, and AJ Lee comes in and makes the save. Like she can come back to set this up without making the save, without this big heroic moment to stop Rollins' crew because she's coming back for Becky. And if Becky is attacking Punk, there's probably not going to be a segment where Punk is laid out bloody and Becky's beating the shit out of him. Like, if we're being honest, it is completely fine. I do want to read something. Our boy Toph. Shout out Toph.
Shout out Toph.
Great name. Never heard of it. We message from time to time. Big AJ Lee fan.
Mm-hmm.
He messages me. Sends a GIF of AJ Lee. I say she's coming. He says in all caps, I've wanted this for a fucking decade, finally. I say I can't freaking wait. He's all hyped, sends in all caps, AJ Lee. Messages, I'm so happy. Cannot wait for Friday. Fire emoji. This is in the span from Sunday to yesterday, Monday. So Sunday through Monday. Zero mention of, I was excited for AJ Lee, but the way they're doing it, they've spoiled it. This is like, no, this is what a fan who wants to see this person, this is how you should react. Look, I'm not going to
Yep.
tell you you're right and wrong in your feeling or whatever. But if you're like, oh, this kills my excitement. When Punk came back to wrestling, AEW did not announce it. They
Yep.
didn't say shit. They didn't say a single thing. They booked Chicago and it sold out in the thought of Punk coming back.
Hmm.
Was anybody sat there like, I wish AEW just had him pop up? No, like what? Why are you? Be happy he's back. Be happy you're getting this moment. Like, be happy the person is returning. The excitement, the great moment is that AJ Lee's actually going to wrestle again. It's not that she came up out of nowhere. It's the fact that she's fucking coming back. They could have fucking announced it on Twitter and said AJ Lee's coming back. We just signed her. I would have still been like, holy fuck, AJ Lee's back. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean,
Chill.
it's 100% what you said. I would be like, oh my God, AJ Lee's coming back. Nothing is perfect. These wrestling fans demand perfection in their own vision of what they see as perfection. If it was up to me, I would be WWE champion right now. Okay. So it's never going to happen. There's many ways you can bring back an AJ Lee. There's many ways you could have brought back CM Punk. Hell, CM Punk did come back and didn't even wrestle for a good, 2 months, So anything is possible with AJ Lee coming back. It could happen on SmackDown. It could happen on Raw. It could happen on Wrestlepalooza. Maybe they even hold off. I don't know, but I have an idea of what's going to happen. To elaborate a little bit about Chicago, SmackDown, AJ Lee coming back, it seems so perfect, so set up for, CM Punk to come out to the ring, Cult of Personality hits. He's standing in the ring. Crowd is going crazy. They're just waiting. Maybe Punk cuts a promo. Maybe he doesn't even cut a promo yet. And that music hits. AJ Lee does not return, but Becky Lynch comes out to the AJ Lee theme. And maybe a little throughout that back and forth between Becky and CM Punk, we get the music again. And there's AJ Lee. Or maybe they do hold off. It does just seem very set up for her to come back in Chicago. And again, they're selling it just like AEW did on the thought. They're pretty much guarantee that AJ Lee is coming back within the next 3 to 4 weeks, whenever Wrestlepalooza is, even sooner than that. These next couple shows are must watch now. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when she's coming back, but you know she's gonna. So I got to watch SmackDown. I got to watch Raw. I got to make sure I'm tuned in to Wrestlepalooza. And hell, if I'm local, I got to go to the show. It's how you sell tickets. It's how you get people to watch on TV. Enough of the spoiling of things. Listen, I get it. As a kid growing up too, I used to kind of hate when I think back a lot to RVD coming back from Money in the Bank. Oh man, I wish they would have just had him surprise show up. That would have been a great moment. But and even back then, I knew why they would announce it though, because you get people to want to watch it because RVD is coming back. It's the same thing with all these wrestlers, all these superstars. AJ Lee's a big enough name that they can kind of sell it without officially, like you said, even tweeting it. But I'm looking forward to it one way or another, as Toph is, as you are, as all the C2 wrestling fans seem to be. I can't imagine seeing Clash in Paris, which again, I'm not a big fan of Becky Lynch's involvement and all that. I've been vocal. But I can't imagine seeing that happen and going, God damn it, they're fucking spoiling this shit. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's like you've never watched wrestling. Like,
yeah, literally. Like I
not
said, it's like your
spoiling
first
it.
show
That's-
ever.
Yeah, that's just you're following along the story. Like that's not spoiling. I do agree. I'm like kind of torn on Becky Lynch doing the, AJ Lee's music hits and she comes out
Mm-hmm.
because man, you're gonna get that nuclear pop and like that is an insane amount of booing that you'll get after that. It's like
Yeah.
the moment is almost so good that it's like, damn, it's tough to pass up. But our music's gonna hit again a little bit later, or maybe a few weeks later, whatever. They almost got to do it right. Like
You
it is
have
the
to. You have to.
ultimate troll,
Yeah.
the ultimate. Like think back of Heyman coming out, excuse me, to
The
Punk's
cult of personality. Yep.
music, and Punk wasn't even signed, wasn't even a thing, just the ultimate fucking troll job by Heyman, and it worked. This would work just as well. Like that would be a monumentally great moment. I would have her do the fucking skip,
Hmm.
anything. Or maybe she even doesn't. She just fucking slowly creeps her way out with that shit-eating grin, like I got you,
Yep.
fuckers. You
You
know,
have to do it.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're trying to get as many boos for Becky and as many cheers for AJ Lee and CM Punk. Not that they need the help, but I know you may not be the biggest Becky supporter in the world, but she does
You're
have a
right.
pretty strong she does have a pretty strong fan base. So if you're really trying to hammer home like you need to boo the fuck out of her, this is the perfect opportunity to do so.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You know, like you said, kind of the shit-eating grin coming down to the ring. She just came out to I can't speak. Seth's theme too. Now coming out to AJ Lee, and then again, maybe they're in the ring, and it's a little bit more of what we just got on Monday of Becky just shit talking Punk, beating him up a little bit, and then we had the shit-eating grin, but then we get the oh shit grin when that music hits again. Exactly as you show on camera. Yeah. Oh God. Oh no. No way.
That will be your favorite part. You're going to be like, man, Becky crushed that. Her facial expressions are great. She's my fucking favorite. You're going to rip off your shirt. It's going to be fucking Becky Hogan, whatever. You're going to be hyped for that moment. You'll be like, AJ Lee, don't even come out. Just fucking freeze frame this.
As a not big Becky Lynch fan to say the least,
Not
there is
big,
a
big time Becks.
yeah, not big, especially not big time Becks. There is a way to do this and do it better, do it right. There's ways to do it wrong. They could fuck it up in a sense too. It's hard to fuck up a return as monumental as AJ Lee's, but there's ways to do it that are better. And if you're gonna do it on SmackDown, that is the way: is to have Becky come out to the AJ theme, a little bit of a tit for tat in the ring, and then AJ Lee does come out after the fact. Maybe Rollins is there too. Maybe he's not. I don't know. Again, I'm a big brand split guy, but this is one of the moments with a return of the stature where you can go, okay, I can see why they're breaking the brand split for a moment. I don't think they're gonna be on SmackDown every week. I've seen people already talking about AJ Lee gonna be on SmackDown week to week. Not quite yet. It's just really for the idea of the return. But again, the match is being set up: Wrestlepalooza mixed tag match, Punk and AJ Lee versus Becky and Seth Rollins, and that does just further the overall theme of the World Heavyweight Championship. CM Punk, Seth Rollins. Maybe they follow up at Survivor Series. Maybe they follow up at the Rumble, all the way to Mania. Who knows? I'm not sure who wins the matchup quite yet. I can see it go either ways, and we could touch on that. But more than talking about what's next for Seth and Punk, what would be next for AJ Lee? Is this a one-off? Does she get more out of it?
Uh, I think I think we get more out of it. I think now with the part-time schedule of wrestlers, you come back, you do a couple. Like it's hard to imagine, don't get me wrong, AJ Lee coming back for a tag match with Punk against Becky and Rollins is fucking massive. Like let's
Yeah.
not undersell this. This is massive. It's hard to imagine someone of AJ Lee's stature to come back and not do a Mania match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're already at the end of September. You got, 3 months till the Rumble. Like it just feels weird that she would just come back as kind of a one-off in the middle. If she was coming back for a Mania match, I'd be like, oh, this might just be like a one-off. She comes back, does the Mania
Yeah.
match. That's it. Also, you start thinking like, well, you can't imagine she comes back and never faces Roxanne Perez. You
Yeah.
start thinking you can't imagine she comes back and doesn't face a Rhea Ripley, who is literally as mainstream as it gets, like probably the biggest women's wrestler they have right now.
She's all over Drake's For You page, man.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, given his history. But it's hard to imagine you don't come back for those matches, have those matches. It's also hard to imagine WWE doesn't offer an ungodly amount of money for all of those matches.
Yes, yes, literally. There's a lot of dream matches. You know, you named it off the top: Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Bailey, Liv Morgan. You know, Raquel's coming up. There's so many potential matchups now. It
Shit,
is
Paige could come back and face her.
Paige could come back. There's so many matchups that can happen. It is pretty much fact that the women in wrestling tend to not have careers the length of the men a lot of the time. You know, guys like Orton have been going 20 plus years. Cena, Natalia's been running a while. Not many more women have been running that long. You know, I don't think AJ Lee's coming back and getting a 10-year run in. But I think AJ Lee's coming back and getting 10 matches, you know, at a minimum, perhaps. How is she not going to be involved in a Royal Rumble? She's never been in a Royal Rumble. You know, are they going to bring AJ Lee back and not have her win a championship at some point? Seems inevitable. It's the same thing with CM Punk. It was inevitable. Cody Rhodes, it was inevitable. When these people come back, it's pretty much certain that's going to happen. Not that she wants to, but Saudi, come on, they're going to be fucking given the money to probably get an AJ Lee showing up at one of their shows, and the Rumble is in Saudi, so who knows? I do completely agree with the assessment too that this is kind of like a middle of the PLE, schedule. Survivor Series, Wrestlepalooza, that time frame. You're going to have her return there. This feud itself might build to WrestleMania. Maybe she gets involved in something different, but WrestleMania might be the official send-off of the AJ Lee Becky Lynch feud. Hell, maybe Becky rides this IC title out that long and it's for the IC title. I don't need that particularly by any means. I think it would be better if she dropped the title. Maybe AJ Lee helps somebody else win the title off Becky, and then their feud is just a non-title feud. AJ Lee winning that championship doesn't quite do it for me as her first title win back, but I can see that being the send-off. I would just be surprised if this is anything less than a multi-match contract.
Yeah, and also there's been so many opportunities for her I don't want to say opportunities. There's been so many moments where fans have speculated, "Oh, this is the time she may come back. Oh, this is the time she may come back." You could argue this is the best time for it to ever happen. I don't know, like, who is she faced on this roster from her?
Natalia.
That's what I was gonna say. Natalia, maybe Tamina.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
No, it doesn't count.
Nikki
Yeah.
Bella.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, is that it? That really might be.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, have her and Bailey ever touched? I don't recall. That's like those timelines are blurry back then. It's Bailey comes in. The four horsewomen come in as Bailey or as AJ's kind of on her way out.
Yeah, I think AJ was already gone because wasn't Mania 31? She does the tag match.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
back
then
to Charlotte transitioning the titles. Charlotte won that Divas Championship, but
yeah,
then
but
transitioned
AJ
it to the
lost it.
women's.
AJ lost it and retired.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So she hasn't been in the ring with any of them really.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there's
Hmm.
so many fresh matchups. Again, she's not going to be wrestling every single week, but we're also talking about she could fucking main event shows
Hmm.
and shit. Like, don't get me wrong, the women right now, they're better and bigger than ever.
Yep.
AJ Lee is a massive name. If you told me we get 4 straight Raws that AJ Lee is on, that her segment is the main event, whether it's her across from Becky, her across from Rhea, her across from fucking Stephanie Vaquer, Io Scott, you name it, I wouldn't be shocked at all. I'd be like, yeah, I believe that. I
Yeah.
100% believe that she's, main eventing the show or main eventing a PLE. Like, that would not surprise me at all. Like, she's in wrestling, she is that big. This is that big of a monumental return. So I'd be quite surprised if she came back and it was literally just for 3 weeks, have this match and kind of dip. I don't know, especially for this main fact. And this is kind of what has led me towards this is going to be a little bit longer. Well, she'll be probably similar to Punk's schedule, where it's like you're part time, but you're close to full time. She comes back, teams with Punk. Say they win. Great.
Hmm.
Punk's feud isn't over with
Yep.
Rollins. Like there's still more to go.
Absolutely.
There's still a title to win. They got to get even. Like Becky's still going to be running rampant. If they win, which I'm not even 100% sure they will. I think they will, but say they do, she just fucking leaves? Job's not done.
Yeah. Makes no sense. I do think I'm leaning towards CM Punk and AJ Lee getting the win for the idea, too, that, if Rollins wins, then I don't know. There's ways to still extend the world title feud, but it doesn't make as much sense. If Punk gets a win over Rollins, it's an easy way to kind of transition Punk into a world championship match. Maybe they don't stretch that one too far. Maybe that does happen at Survivor Series. It also delays the Roman Rollins match, which we might just very well get at WrestleMania. Where CM Punk is at WrestleMania, hell, again, we've said it. Maybe they run back the triple threat, or maybe he finds himself involved in something different by that time. But for the next couple months, they're running back Rollins Punk. That's really like the center point of this world title feud right now. Gunther's not around. He does come back. Hell, he might be SmackDown bound anyways. Who knows? CM Punk is kind of the focal point. The Usos are seemingly reuniting. I can see them taking on Braun and Bronson during Wrestlepalooza as well. Maybe they all get involved, just kind of evens the playing field for Punk and AJ Lee. Is there a world where Becky and Rollins win? Sure, absolutely. But I can see it happening in a way where either AJ Lee picks up the pin or Punk picks up the pin himself.
Yeah, and when you start looking at the future of AJ Lee, okay, her feud with Becky may go a couple months. It may just be enough until Punk maybe captures the title back. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned I'd be stunned if she doesn't face a Roxanne. Roxanne.
Stunned. Roxanne.
Roxanne. I was actually thinking about this. I may have texted this to you, but I don't know. We always talk, like, it's always mentioned how young she is, how much potential she has, all this stuff. You name it. I don't know if there's been a wrestler in the same position as her that is so new to the main roster
Mm-hmm.
and has two absolutely monstrous marquee matches for them that not just she would want, booking is setting up for it, but fans also want. When you have the Liv return, because Liv is one of the biggest stars they have in the women's roster, Liv and Roxanne is a massive story in itself. And then literally the Roxanne AJ Lee story genuinely could be a 6-month feud for all we fucking know. Like this is the MJF CM Punk
Mm-hmm.
2.0. Like that's that. Roxanne truly, I mean, there's rockets being strapped to people's backs. Like I don't know if there's any comparison of someone at their age being set up so well with two monstrous matches given their situation. In a year and a half to 2 years from now, she has those two inevitable feuds and stories. Roxanne literally could be like the face of one brand's women's division.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm not sure if you quite texted me that, but it also could have got lost in the mix of all your texts about Jalen Hurts. So,
That is possible. That is,
definitely.
I have not said this is a Jalen Hurts candle behind.
Yeah, it might have been lost in
What do the kids
translation
do
there a
these
little
days?
bit.
This?
Yeah, I don't even know how the fuck they do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we go. Something like that. Yeah. Come on, just do the old school.
yeah.
Old school.
Love you, Jalen.
Roxanne is being built up to have the career of a lifetime, realistically. And, I'm going to compare Roxanne's build to somebody else in a moment where, people they want all these people fast tracked so much. Roxanne is 23, she's young. She's got plenty of time left. You don't want to put the rocket on everybody. Roxanne's going to get her moment. And people are upset she didn't win fucking Money in the Bank or wasn't in the match and she isn't getting world title shots and all this, all that already. People cry, buried, absolutely buried. People cry, cry, and cry. How could they not be using her? How is she not involved when she is involved? She's involved every week in hell. She's involved in one of the main factions, main storylines in wrestling right now. I think back to Austin Theory, a guy that was of the same age that got an electric push by Vince. Yeah, storylines weren't great. I get all that, but the guy's got all the charisma, all the talent, the look. He's got all the factors in the world to be the face of the company at some point in time. And fans revolted against that because he was pushed so hard, so heavy. But then on the other hand, they would cry because Roxanne is being pushed as hard, as heavy. I'm of the belief that if Roxanne was pushed to that extent, people would hate it. They're calling for it, but they would hate it. So they're slow burning Roxanne. You mentioned Liv Morgan coming back. That is obviously one of the built up, gonna happen feuds, Roxanne and Liv Morgan. Hell, I think you even slow burn that. I think Liv comes back and they don't immediately break up. At least the trio of those women, Roxanne, Liv, and Raquel. Even if there's like some tension here or there, I think out of all the trio women's factions and stables, probably count them on one hand if we're being honest too. I couldn't even tell you the last one. There hasn't been any that were that monumental. You have a chance here with Liv, Roxanne, and Raquel to kind of create something out of these three women for a little bit. If you build them up as kind of like a heel trio inside the Judgment Day, maybe Liv is running the helm and Roxanne and Raquel kind of still run the tag division. You then build that down the line to be an even bigger potential, even face turn for Roxanne. I even said when Roxanne got called up, baffled me a little bit that she was being called up as a heel. And she's doing it. It's working. But she's got babyface potential through the roof. You know, that eventual turn for Roxanne will be huge. Is she the one that goes babyface against a heel AJ Lee down the line? Who the hell knows? It's hard to predict a year, 2 years down the line. But there is a lot of potential matchups for AJ Lee, for Roxanne, for all these women right now. We keep talking about Rio, Io, Stephanie, all these women. Oh my God, did I just say Rio? Rhea, Io. I want to say both of them, I guess. Rhea, Io, Stephanie. You know, Naomi's out for a little bit, but there's been a lot of great women right now, and you're just adding AJ Lee back into the mix. Let's go on Twitter and complain about it. I don't get it.
You know the marquee match has got to be made, right?
What's that? Let's hear it.
Look, but you can't touch.
Yeah.
You can't dream. I need AJ Lee versus Nikki Bella. Old time's sake.
Yeah, his Clash in Paris was marquee. That was a great showing.
You shut that mouth. You shut that mouth. It was Becky's fault, and you know it.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine too.
I don't know. Like, there's been so much talk about AJ Lee, and it is similar to when Punk was coming back, where it's like, oh my God, the opportunities are endless. All this stuff. There is also like a little bit of, you gotta sip a little bit of the realism, you know, have a realistic mind. AJ Lee comes back. She's a massive name, similar to when Punk came back. She's not gonna be wrestling every single week. She's not gonna face everybody. So like some names, like for instance, I immediately, one of the first names I thought of where I was like, oh man, what a fucking match that would be. I immediately thought of Lyra. You know, this is, we're creeping towards, you know, this isn't a Lyra Stan account. We're not at that level, but we're in the supporter section. Like we are.
Absolutely.
We've been investing a lot of stock in the Bird Lady.
Yep.
It's one of those where I was like, you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if AJ Lee came back for 2 years, had a 2-year run, and she never faced Lyra. Like, someone of her name, she's going to come back. She's going to have a few matches, you know, say it's 10 or whatever. They're going to be big matches, but they're going to be multiple month stories similar to how Punk is. Like, Punk hasn't really faced that many people.
No.
He's been back for, 2 years now?
And there's still many dream matches.
There's so many people for him to face still.
Yep.
Like, he hasn't faced a boatload of the roster, you know, and I'm not even thinking about live shows. You can't put those
don't count. Yeah.
But it's been 2 years. It feels like Punk's barely even fucking scratched the surface on the people that he can face. And some of the people that he has faced, you still want to see him face in other aspects, i.e., a Roman match one on one. Like we haven't even gotten that. When that happens, that's a multi-month story thing. That's what I think about with AJ Lee. Her with Becky, if you told me that goes to WrestleMania, I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying I want that, but with how they do these part-time schedules, Cody's not going to be on SmackDown the next few weeks. I think that's also why it helps Punk being on SmackDown. That's fine. The champ isn't there.
Hmm.
Rollins shows up, whatever. But that's the fucking champion who's probably going to go a month without being on his own show. You
Yeah.
blink, you just killed a month of the calendar, and it's like, oh, we don't even have to worry about building up towards the Rumble because we just chopped a month off, and now we have way less TV to book to get us there. Like, that's exactly how I think with AJ Lee. So there's plenty of dream matches, marquee matches, but they're not all going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much talent on the roster, and the roster's only growing. There's still names like a Jordan Grace and Azaria to be called up eventually. Kalani, Jordan, all sorts of names. I don't think AJ Lee is going to get everybody. Again, I think she's going to get some matches in, but she doesn't have a 10-year career ahead of her, in my opinion. So we'll see where they go. There is a couple more things that maybe happened throughout the week that we can touch on in the last couple moments of this. We got, 20 more minutes to hit an hour or so, right?
25.
Yeah, 25. We'll keep it going for a little bit. You saw, sent it to you, was seeing DIY, something we want to touch on a little bit.
I
Return
don't think
to,
that was English, what you just said.
maybe not. I don't know. I can't fucking speak sometimes, so that's definitely possible.
Unless I just had an aneurysm, I swear you said you saw sent the T I seen.
Well, I think I might have, I don't remember what I said exactly, but I think I said, you saw it, I sent it to you, I seen it as it was happening.
Okay, maybe yes,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe that's
yeah.
what you
Yeah,
said.
maybe
I'm
we're
gonna have to
both
flip
just,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I don't know. I don't
don't
know.
know. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah,
DIY makes a return to NXT, unexpected to say the least. Definitely there's pros and cons, I should say. Uh, Good for NXT. NXT's tag division is lacking to say the least, so they can use some help. DIY, they fall out of the program for the SmackDown tag titles, and maybe they're not about to be used on SmackDown for the foreseeable future. So why not get them involved elsewhere? Good things coming out of it, sure. Very sudden to just face turn them off the back of them being like very, very heelish for a while. They were really riding that heel route, and they just show up babyface on NXT. Maybe it's all a ploy and they kind of go back to their heel ways down at NXT, but it was a little bit of a weird transition, old theme and everything. I mean, that's a staple of NXT though. When you think back to the golden era of NXT, you think of DIY. Those tag team matches were electric. So I'm hoping they put on some great stuff, but what'd you think? What do you think about DIY and NXT?
yeah. Before we started, I said to you, I have a love hate with it, as I do with most
Mm-hmm.
things, and I try not to, but I have to look at both sides. On one hand, I'm like, I love it. NXT needs the help. NXT needs the people. Also, you have plenty of people that just aren't really being used. They did it in the past. They kind of got away from it from the TNA partnership. I'm glad they're kind of creeping back towards it. If someone's not really being used on the main roster, yeah, get them down in NXT for a few weeks, do a story or two. Fine. Help the ratings. Who knows? You sometimes get compelling stories this way. Sometimes it turns into something for good or bad. Baron Corbin all of a sudden becomes a staple of the brand. Who knows? So on that hand, I'm like, sweet. Yes, this is what we've been clamoring for. When we mention wanting a draft, we mention some people on the main roster should go to NXT. You talk about it as a third brand. You say it's not developmental anymore. It has its own TV deal. Now it's got its own streaming service deal, essentially, because it's on Peacock while the rest of the PLEs are on ESPN. So it's completely separate, treated as so as it's this at this high level. The negative is you men in blacked me. You boop. That didn't happen. What are you talking about? No. What do you mean? No, you're remembering that wrong. They're gaslighting me. Now, If it is all a ploy, great. Love that. That could be
Yeah.
great. Them attacking Trick kind of makes me feel maybe it isn't. You know, maybe it's a little bit different. But if it is, they're just straight up baby faces. Why couldn't they have come back, got disrespected by Trick? He tells them they didn't check in. He's the leader of TNA and NXT. You don't
Mhm.
just show up when you want to. And then the following week, they're like, you know what? Fuck this. We fucking built this place. These are our people. You know what? I do remember hashtag DIY. Fuck yeah. You know what? I'm coming back and I'm going to return to my old self. That'd be fine. If
Yeah.
it's all a ploy, great. If they just Men in Black style, that didn't happen, that's lazy.
Yeah, it is lazy. I mean, listen, if it takes getting a main roster team like DIY down to NXT to take the tag titles off of Dark State, so be it. I don't know if that's the route this will eventually end up going, but I sure hope so. Nothing against even the four individuals in Dark State, but that faction is not it. It is not working, and I think it's time to kind of wrap that one up and move along. But again, NXT needs some help with that tag division. I wouldn't be opposed to another tag team even going down there. The only flip side is too, I would be opposed to DIY going to Raw, and just staying as heels because Raw could just use the help just as much, if
Yeah.
not more, than NXT, if we're being honest. But as you said, they got a TV deal. NXT is its own brand. There's some establishment there. If they need help in NXT, they're going to send down the big guns when they got it. They've had the Randy Ortons of the world show up in NXT to beef up the ratings for an episode or two. DIY might not be pulling Randy Orton numbers, but you have them there for a couple weeks, some consistency. Not only are they going to help, but they're also going to help the wrestlers. It is still developmental. Hank and Tank have only been around for so long. Pairing up or going against DIY might give them a little bit of an increase in what they can do, what they can learn. I'm all for DIY being down there. I do kind of hope it's a ploy. I wasn't even at the beginning of DIY's heel run like thrilled with them being heels, but Gargano in his own right made it work. Ciampa in his own right was one of the greatest heels ever at that point in time. Coming out to no music. As a team, I wasn't sure how it would work, but they made it work. I'm hoping they go back to the heelish ways. I believe Candice LeRae had a speed match on NXT as well, but now she's not with DIY now too. Like I don't know if are they going to face turn her. There's some caveats involved, but biggest point again is the NXT tag division needs it.
I feel like I should have looked this up or tried to find this before making this point, but fuck it. I feel like there was once a wrestler, and this might have been during the Vince era, but there was once a wrestler on the main roster that was like heel, but then was also showing up on NXT as like a baby face. I feel like
Huh?
that happened. And
Wouldn't surprise me.
I can't think of who it was. It wasn't something like massive, but that's like ringing a bell in my head that there was a wrestler who was showing up on NXT and they were like working as a face or heel, but then when they were on the main roster, they were the opposite. Like I
Hmm.
feel like I remember, surprise, surprise, Twitter complaining about it,
Yeah.
rightfully so. But I should have fucking looked it up. But if that were be the, if that were to be the case, ass would hate
Yeah.
that. Don't need that. I agree with you though. It is kind of interesting that Raw very well could have used DIY, very well could
Hmm.
have used the help of a tag team. But I guess the good thing is them going to NXT compared to Raw, they're going to be the fucking focal point of the show on NXT. Compared to they go to Raw, who knows if they even fucking put them on TV with how they treat tag teams. So I like it. I want more people to do so.
Hmm.
We talk about it all the time. The main roster. There's a and wrestlers have talked about it. There's almost like a you have your mainstay people. Punk's always gonna be on, Rollins, whatever. You have those big names, the Drew McIntyres, they're always gonna be in the mix. Then you have the people that kind of rotate. Like, all right, at this time, this team's been on for a few weeks, whatever. The War Raiders are getting a strong mix and whatever. All right, now the LWO are going to be the ones that have the TV time. Oh, now Los Garza, we saw it with like Santos Escobar, like oh he's on heavily for a few weeks, and then he kind of fades, and it's Andrade now in the mix, whatever. Those people who are in that like lost in the shuffle kind of mix around, get them in the NXTs, the TNAs, the Triple A's, get them in the mix. We saw Otis show up in Triple A. I like that. I want that. That to me is irrelevant to the brand split.
Yeah.
That is completely separate. I am fine with that happening. It's not Raw superstars just showing up on SmackDown, SmackDown superstars just showing up on Raw, whatever. I'm fine with that happening.
Yeah, I completely agree. AAA, TNA, even NXT to a point, those crossovers are a bit different. I just looked it up during that to confirm that NXT September 16th does go back to Full Sail. It is a little bit of a homecoming, so that could be the whole point in bringing back like a DIY is that sort of homecoming show. Some other familiar names could even pop up. Maybe we get a Finn Balor appearance down in NXT. They made a lot of references during their promo on NXT too, some former names of that NXT Golden Era. So we'll see where they go. Tag team wrestling, man. The SmackDown has been on fire with it, and they still are. I'm loving what they're doing with the Wyatt Six. Looking to see what happens tomorrow on SmackDown regarding the Wyatt Six. Maybe the Profits break up. Who knows where they go? Raw, we've been adamant as hell, can use some help. We've been adamant as hell about NXT using some help. I do think, WWE is probably in a world even of like shopping tag teams to bring to NXT. Maybe we can get another team in there, form a new team of guys, and bring back DIY to Monday Night Raw or something to freshen it up a little bit. Dream matches, DIY versus Bronson and Braun would be fantastic. But again, I'm not confident they would ever book it because they don't book tag teams on Raw, despite them having tag team championships. So we'll see where they go. NXT, looking forward to DIY. I do hope they kind of get like a short NXT title stint down there.
Like tag title stint or
Yeah, correct.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Fucking obviously, fuck. You know how I feel
Yeah.
about Dark State. I mean, I know they cut a solid promo. I'm too far gone on them, no disrespect.
Yeah.
If they split into two tag teams, maybe I would care a little bit more. I don't know. It's just it ain't
Not
working
clicking.
for me. It ain't clicking. I don't think it ever will. But looking ahead, circling back a little bit to Wrestlepalooza, because now we're on the build to Wrestlepalooza. SmackDown might give us a little bit more. We expect Cena versus Brock to be on there. We expect the AJ Lee return, which probably main events, you could argue. I don't know. It like,
Tough with Brock.
yeah, it's tough with Brock. I genuinely could see it going either way. Um, they're probably going to sell this like they sold Netflix, where it's multiple main events.
Double main event.
Roman Solo didn't main event, whatever. Uh, but that's
Let me
not the
say
only
real
show.
quick though, if about WrestlePalooza, Brock AJ, if they have Brock, which arguably should main event, if they have Brock main event over AJ, oh my god, the fans are gonna melt
Don't even go
down.
on Twitter, man. Don't even
Yeah,
go on
don't
Twitter.
even go on Twitter.
Don't waste your time. Don't waste that phone battery.
Yeah.
Just it's a Saturday, right? Just enjoy some
Yeah.
college late night college football, fucking
Yeah.
Pac-12 or whatever, fucking
Yeah.
Big
Put
12
that
on.
phone on DND and you call it a
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep it moving. But that day there is another wrestling event, a pretty big one. We
Hmm.
have All Out.
All over. I have no fucking idea anymore.
I
It is all out. But
All
yeah,
Out.
there's
I
yeah.
All in, all out. It gets you mixed up.
Yeah.
We mentioned it was scheduled for 8 p.m. It's in Toronto. We mentioned you got to move this show. Like,
Hmm.
you got to go earlier. I get it. It's annoying. WWE did their, we're going to ruin the party because they're treating them as they are, as competition. WWE is absolutely stacking a massive show at the same exact time. I've seen some people go both ways on this. Like some people up in arms, some people glad they did it. As the ultimate 50-50 guy, I want to bring both sides. And on one hand, yeah, should be annoyed if you're an AEW fan. What the fuck? Why are you thinking about what WWE is doing? Like you stick to your guns. This is what
Hmm.
this is what I'm here to watch you. This is what I want to watch. On the other hand, you got to look at it as this is you can take it as disrespect or you could take it as the biggest sign of respect ever from WWE. I don't know if there's ever going to be a bigger moment where they saw a time and place of your show and they said, we need to run at the exact same time with Brock Lesnar coming back and AJ Lee coming back to overtake that time. If there isn't a bigger compliment of, oh, wow, they're pulling out the fucking big guns to go against us. They ain't running an NXT fucking spring break at the same time. This is different. You can look at it as, oh, this is annoying, fuck them. Or you can look at it as, they are treating you as the biggest competition ever because they weren't fucking doing this when TNA was on Monday nights. They were like, TNA's just going to fucking fail. We'll let them choke on their own blood. I see people fucking bitching. If I were as diehard of an AEW fan as some of them, I would take it as they look at AEW a lot higher than others do if they're running this crazy of a show at the same exact time.
Yeah, there's a few ways to look at it. The way I view it, they're right to move the show time to 3 p.m. All Out is now airing at 3 p.m., so it does no longer go head to head. It is still on the same day as Wrestlepalooza, but is no longer head to head. Fans are calling it a lot of counter programming by WWE. There's a big difference in WWE scheduling Heat Wave to air at the same time and day, and then a brand new ESPN PLE with Brock and AJ. Fans treat Heat Wave as the same type of counter programming as Wrestlepalooza, and it's a very different level. Listen, AEW may do good numbers on their PLEs, but their weekly shows are not in comparison to WWE, if we're being flat out honest. We won't even get into the HBO Max debate, but All Out at 8 p.m. Stick to your guns, maybe. Going to 3 p.m. makes more sense to me. I understand it. I'm still adamant on the point that I've said in the past that AEW and Tony Khan wanted the smoke. They asked for this for a long time. They wanted this. They were calling out WWE. There's that promo of Tony Khan saying he's not backing down, blah, blah, blah. They wanted this. They're getting it. You got it, bud. Okay, neat. You got it. They are getting exactly what they asked for. They are getting exactly what they asked for. And it's not even like I'm seeing really any AEW wrestlers or talent or whatever complain about it. It's all the fandom, don't get me wrong. But if you're a fan of AEW, didn't you want this then too? You've been preaching to the choir for ages about how great AEW is and how they're going to beat WWE and beat them in the ratings and it's the better show. Put your fucking money where your mouth is then. Go head to head with WWE. Stick to your guns. Run that show at 8 o'clock. Now, I also made this point right before we got on to do this podcast. Ryan and I were talking. Ryan, Fab Reactions. We're talking about All Out moving to 3 p.m. He's who brought it up to me. And I had mentioned to him that, these shows being on the same day, even the same time, isn't that better for like an overall wrestling fan? If you watch AEW and WWE, doesn't the condensing of the shows make it better? If they were to do the shows on different nights every week, I lose every weekend to watching wrestling. This weekend, it's the WWE show, and then it's AEW next week, and then NXT's on, and then there's a UFC fight or something, and now it's football season. Like, my weekends are shot because there's something I want to watch every weekend. So isn't, kind of condensing and putting everything on one night better for a fan that wants to watch both things?
Yeah, I mean, I do understand that like you want your undivided attention towards two things that like you're very like for us it's a little bit different because we're not
Where
as locked in on AEW. So like we
yeah,
don't
and I
have that
guess I'm
strong care.
to that point. I'm also used to watching fucking 8 football games at a
That
time,
too.
you know, and
Yeah.
my head's going back
Yeah.
and forth. I know what's going
Like
on everywhere.
like put it this way. There's times where the Eagles and Manchester United play at the same exact time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not crazy about that because I
Hmm.
want one to have my undivided attention.
For sure.
You know, granted, I'm having two screens. I'm not risking watching one later, having anything spoiled, whatever. I'm having two screens and I'm going to try to pay attention to both. But it's still like, fuck, I wish these were at different times. I'd rather just my entire day go from one to the next, whatever. So I understand people not wanting that. To go back to the original point, though, of AEW fans wanting this,
Hmm.
whatever, that's what I'm saying, though. Like,
Yep.
to me, this is what so many wanted. This is like your justification.
Yeah.
This is your, they look at us how we want to be looked at because of what they're counter booking. This isn't Heat Wave with their running, in full sale or whatever. No disrespect to NXT. We love NXT.
Yeah.
We watch all the
Different
shows.
level.
But this is fucking Brock Lesnar returning, potentially AJ Lee returning, an ESPN debut show. Like this is, you can argue it's one of those shows like the Netflix debut where it is on the level of one of their top four PLEs. This is going to be a massive event.
Yep.
So to me, that's what I'm saying. Like, you should feel justified. You can be pissed, you can be annoyed, but this is your justification. This is what you always wanted them to look at you as you looked at the product. They're doing it. And this is
Hmm.
how they're going to treat it. Like, this is because you're the competition. They're not going to fucking just be like, oh, yeah, let's put on an absolute stinker. So at the same time, people realize the other product's better than ours. No, they're going to fucking go balls to the wall. And that's what they're doing. So it is a bit of you reap what you sow, but it is the justification. They are treating you how you wanted to be treated. Now, whether you're going to sit there and be like, shit, I don't know if I wanted to actually be treated like this, is a different story.
Yeah, all the shit talking via AEW and the fan base for years about how great it is and how much better it is. And, they finally get what they've been asking for. And now it's kind of scared feet a little bit. It's what you asked for. You guys wanted this for so long and you're getting it. I don't see a reason to complain. Again, moving the show time to 3 p.m. is better for AEW. I think it's also a realization via AEW that they probably will not compete to this WWE PLE. If it was running against Heatwave, I think they would have stuck to the same time frame. I don't think it's as big of a deal. To your point, WWE is not booking Capital Punishment up against All In. They're going to book these shows. And also, this isn't the fucking last time this is going to happen. AEW has also counter-programmed WWE many times as well. This has gone both ways. It's competition within the wrestling fandom. We should want it. Again, we've preached this to the choir. It makes all of the wrestling better. And isn't that the point?
We win.
Yeah,
We
we win.
win. We have, if you're an AEW fan, great. If you're a WWE fan, great. You have one company booking what they think is their best show in Toronto, a stacked card, whatever. Then you have another company who's bringing whatever your thoughts are on Brock Lesnar,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little different, but they're fucking getting AJ Lee back after a decade.
It's also still just Brock Lesnar,
That too.
yeah.
John Cena is gonna wrestle. Like,
Punk is there,
like these companies are going insane. We are the winners.
Yeah,
We win.
yeah, we
We
win.
get to win no matter what.
For the AEW fans out there too. Now, listen, the AEW fandom, I see them talk about it all the time. How they believe they're in the heads of WWE. The AEW world is, and to a point, sure, fine, but I think more to the point, because AEW is the newer company, the lesser company, if we're being honest, they more have to think about WWE than WWE has to think about them. They realize that Wrestlepalooza is going toe to toe. If I work for AEW Creative, I'm in that room right now going, fuck, how do we match up against Brock? How do we match up against AJ Lee? Pulling out all the stops to create a better show. They're going to do something, I would hope, I would imagine, book some great matches. Maybe they have a big moment of their own. Even if in whatever fandom you prefer, even if you think the AJ Lee return is the bigger, better moment in the long run, you would imagine AEW is trying to come up with something right now as we do this podcast that would outdo Brock Lesnar, AJ Lee, and all that.
Well, here's a great example of all of this though. We've talked about how in like the last year, AEW has been better than their previous year or two because they started like to focus on themselves. It
Correct.
felt like they stopped putting so much attention to WWE and others and like focusing on their own fans, running smaller venues and selling them out, whatever. This is goes to our argument. When you have competition that's doing well, you have to be better. So AEW fans who only watch AEW, who are like, it's better than it's ever been, I got news for you. If WWE was the most unwatchable dog shit ever and AEW was the only thing doing well, it wouldn't last.
Mm-hmm.
Same as WWE did. The competition breeds excellence. It's what makes things better. What WWE is doing well, AEW is doing well. AEW is doing well because they have to do well because WWE is doing well. WWE is doing well because they have to do well because AEW is doing well. If one is shit and the other can take their foot off the gas, that's when we lose. That's when
Mm-hmm.
we get the fucking times under Vince where there's no competition. You're getting whatever the fuck I say you get, and you're like, good Lord, this is unwatchable. This is where we win because both have stepped up as much as they can in the last year, year and a half, whatever, focusing on themselves, but also focusing on trying to beat the other competition because they're doing well or doing better, whatever. That's why we're the winners.
That's why we're the winners. I mean, I can't really say it any better than that. I'm looking forward to Wrestlepalooza. I know you're looking forward to Wrestlepalooza. All in weekend. NFL is coming back. College football is here. There's a lot to look forward to. C2 Wrestling's got a lot to look forward to. I look forward to all those people that are going to subscribe to the channel of C2 Wrestling because if you don't, good God, you're a coward, man.
Absolute coward. Before we go, since football season starts tonight, Super Bowl pick.
Oof, Super Bowl pick off the dome. Honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. I do like the run back of the Eagles, or I have a weird Lions feeling this year. I feel like the Lions can get it done.
I will always pick the Eagles because I'm obviously
Yeah.
biased. I have a weird feeling the Ravens are going to make it to the Super Bowl this year. I don't
The
know what
Ravens
it is.
Ravens are due. Ravens are definitely due. The Ravens and the Bills are like those two teams in that boat of like
Sooner or later.
I got to put my $50 on the Bills
Yeah,
still because
exactly. Yeah,
sooner or later they're gonna
exactly.
fucking do it. You would think, but
But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not gonna. If the Eagles are, especially when they're one of the favorites, the reigning champion, I'm
yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
fucking pick
Yeah.
them. I know it's hard to repeat, so I'm not expecting them to repeat. But yeah, Birds over Ravens, 27-21.
Birds over Ravens 27-21. We're gonna run back this video. I'll go Birds over Bills 28-20.
Love it. Hope that happens. Either way, I have both Birds and Bills to win the Super Bowl. So either way, I'm happy. Subscribe or you're a coward. If you want to, leave your Super Bowl pick down in the comments below. And it better be that the Eagles or the Steelers are winning the Super Bowl. If not, delete your fucking comment. Don't even put it. I don't want to see it. And subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.